In July 11th, 2007, I got a phone call that my sister had passed away in a fatal car accident. Came home to be with my family, and waiting for me on the door, literally, and in my darkest hour was my middle school sweetheart, who's now my wife. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have made it through. I decided to stay in New York to support my family. It was a really tough time. It was just the two of us. So one half of my parents' children were gone overnight. From there, I got a decent job here in New York, and was planning to stay and starting to set up roots. And before you know it, Lee and I were pregnant and expecting our first child. Life happened in a bang. All of a sudden, life flipped upside down, and it came right back up again. And it was a very turbulent, but now in hindsight, I can say beautiful time in the wake of such tragedy. Because in 2008, my daughter Ava was born, and that's really what set me on the path to a career in graphic design. Because at that point, I decided with a family now that I needed to do more than just create some cool artwork here and there for fun. I needed to marry my passion with my career. Blue Rabbit Studios was a conception that popped into mind during my tenure as a director of design for an accessories company out in New York City. I started building marketing teams and working with several different creatives and different personality types, and putting them all together and getting them to mesh really started to bubble up in my subconscious, this idea of building a larger platform for being able to build a brand and release a campaign. Blue Rabbit Studios is meant to pique the interest, just in the name alone and the imagery associated with it, of doing things differently, shaking things up a bit. I don't call myself a creative director. A lot of times you'll hear me refer to myself as a creative disruptor. For me, it's really important that when we create content, or when we work on building a brand, we do it just differently enough to get people to think, to get people to feel some way about it. Emotionality is huge. I think it's incredibly important to follow a career that's aligned with your passions, or at least with your sensibilities.